Today I will talk about this FMS Ranger 1.2 meter. It's a 1220 millimeter RC airplane. And I've actually had the smaller 850, which I really digged. And this is actually my second one because I have one at home and have one at this location, my summer house. So this one is only for float flying. And I think it's really great of FMS to actually include floats in many of their RC airplanes, like also the Super Easy and like this FMS Ranger and also the FMS Kingfisher. And it's a really lightweight RC airplane, so it does glide really well. It's also a really simple one, doesn't feature any flaps. And sadly not any LED lights, because I would really like to have seen some sort of LED lights on this RC airplane, especially like nose lights and navigation lights on the wing, because then it will be really enjoyable to fly during dusk or dawn when the low light situation. But regardless, it's a really fun RC airplane. And in mine, I have actually replaced the ESC. So up here I carved some foam and put the Navian 45 amp ESC, because the stock ESC then is actually just 20 amps. I think it's underpowered. But when you do swap the ESC, it's really easy to overload the motor inside. So I did actually do it because I flew this one on 4S, and after a few flights, actually the whole motor mount just melted and the engine just broke. So I had to order a new motor, and that's why I think you will be really careful to try 4S on this RC airplane. I think when you have like this speed controller inside and you have a good 3S battery like the Spektrum batteries, I think that you will actually have a really enjoyable time and still have lots of power. I've also increased throw on mine, so I have like 130% on the ailerons, and also increased on the elevator to have this one taking off easier. And I've moved the on the control horns. I have the most inner one on the control horns, and I also have a 11 by 5.5 prop, and I did actually measure this one and compare to the original prop, and even a 10 by 5 master air screw prop. And power draw was more or less the same. I think this one is really efficient, and I had some imbalance in the stock prop, so it didn't really matter. But when you do fly this one, I would certainly just put your pinky inside in this hole and just feel the back side of the engine. And if it's super hot, I would actually pause flying for at least 15 minutes before continue to fly. And you can even pop this cone and just feel the center of the motor shaft. And if this is too hot, I think you should really let this RC airplane rest, because there's not enough cooling inside to actually save the motor in the long run. So I mean, it's just a fantastic RC airplane. So let's get this one up in the air again. So an advantage of the avian ESC inside is actually reverse thrust on floats, which is really useful. When you're about to take off, you get this one going, and then just have a throttle push and a little bit of elevator, and you're up in a really good way, because water can be really sticky when you're about to take off. So you can actually just keep on making it smooth, and it doesn't feel like the plane will ever take off, and then it just jumps up in the air. So with the increased throw that I have on all the surfaces, this is a really agile and fun RC airplane. I'm also digging this 11 by 5.5 prop. I think it is much more suited to this RC airplane compared to the stock prop, which I think is just too... It's a little bit too weak in my opinion. And then I think this APC 11 by 5.5 is more stiff and handles agility much better. I mean, this is like a trainer RC airplane, but I like to try to fly this one, agile and aerobatic. There are some minor wind gusts today. Usually where I'm standing, it can be quite calm, and then if you go 30 or 40 meters offshore it can be quite gusty, so a little bit unpredictable to actually get it down.
Time remaining 4 minutes.
And to transition between these like wind zones. It's also really easy to control this RS airplane. So if you're like a beginner, I think you will enjoy this plane very much. It's also really simple to put together. It's a top feeder, so you have the battery hatch on top, which is a ton better than on the Night Timber X and Timber X, for instance. So to have a hatch on the bottom of an RS airplane should really be banned, at least these days, and most manufacturers have also really realized this. There are few RS airplanes with bottom hatches. I know that the E-Flight Valiant is one, and I wish the Valiant would have the battery hatch on the top. It would be really nice. But this one has the hatch in the right position. But I mean, LED lights would have been so nice. I mean, it could just bring a whole another level of night flying to this RS airplane. When I do push this RS airplane, I know that the motor does get super hot. So I try to not do more than like 3 flights in a row. And then have like at least a half an hour break. Because on this location I can actually fly as much as I please. Just have to grab my plane and battery and my TX and just fly. So the only thing limiting me more or less is weather. So if it's just too windy, I cannot fly safely, at least. But usually, I mean, it's really nice and calm location, at least some part of almost each and every day. When you just step on the throttle, it's really fun RS airplane to fly. So on a 2200 milliamp battery, I get about 5 minutes of flight time. I know that I can extend flying if I would go slower, so I think well, maybe you can go at least 8 minutes if you take it easy. And I think, I mean, just with almost any RS airplane, flows on RS airplane just looks just fantastic, lots of fun. It's also much easier just to get it off the water and also to land, as you usually just have a vast space of smooth water. So let's just get this one down a little bit gusty, make it smooth. So every time I take this Ranger to the sky, I think it's just an enjoyable experience. Maybe I'll do the larger 1.8 meter Ranger in the future, but just as the smaller 850, this 1.2 meter is just a fantastic flying RS airplane. I think it looks great also, and really good agility when you just increase all the throws, and with this 11x5.5 prop. In a way, I think this Ranger is kind of similar to the FMS Kingfisher. I mean, the Kingfisher does feature flaps, and this one doesn't feature flaps, and there's a little bit different when the configuration when it comes to how the floats, because on this Ranger you actually have a waterproof servo inside one of the floats, and on the Ranger I think you actually just have to do something with the rear part to have attach a actual physical rudder, so it's a kind of simpler construction than this one. But even though the FMS Kingfisher have flaps and this one doesn't, this is such a great slow flying RC airplane, and you can actually like kill the throttle and this plane will glide for a really long time. It's really lightweight, so I mean you can do lots of things, and when you do like I just increase throw on especially on the ailerons, then I think you have a really nice roll rate, and as this one is so light you can really maneuver even in high wind. And I mean you do have like the gyro from Reflex included in the package, but I opted to use an AR637T, and the advantage is you can program the receiver with forward programming, and I discovered that I mean by default you have like one time gain for AS3X to smoothen out wind changes. And I did have some you know rough flying when the wind picked up, but as soon as I changed to 2 times gain on this RC airplane, it was just rock solid, and then I think it just flew even better. So I mean it's just a fantastic and great looking RC airplane, kind of resemble of a Cessna 150, and this is also, I would say that this is like an Arrow's Bigfoot version, but with floats. So the Bigfoot is a really nice RC airplane with the flaps and LED lights, and I wish actually for the Bigfoot to have floats, but I mean as I have the FMS Ranger I don't think I need floats. But regardless, I think it's just a fantastic flying RC airplane. I think it looks better than the Kingfisher actually, and it's also better than the Super EC. So one of my absolute favorite high wing 3S RC airplanes.